All right, welcome everyone. It is Anna Runyon, founder and CEO of Classy Career Girl, and today I have an important guest that I want to introduce you to. This is Stu McLaren. He is the go-to expert to help you build a profitable membership site. And Stu, I have to say, I am so thankful that I started a membership site years ago. I started a membership site when I had one kid. Now I have three. And it has been like a lifesaver. I probably wouldn't have a business right now if I didn't have this membership site because it has given me so much balance and freedom to be there with the kids and everything too. So thank you for helping me start one.
Well, listen, credits to you because, you took an idea and you made it work. And I know that, over the years that membership has, you've made changes to it based on what you've learned about your members and how you can best serve them and stuff like that. And I think that, one of the things for all of us to realize is that this is a journey. It's not like a, one stop. Like when you create a membership, you're going deeper and deeper with the people that you love to serve. And it ends up coming full circle back, just as you mentioned, like it's provided you tremendous flexibility and freedom. And at the same time, I know that you've impacted a whole lot of people as a result of that membership experience as well.
Yeah, I really think it's one of the best business models. So my audience has been hearing me talk a lot about it lately, and I know that you have been teaching people through your workshop this week. So when do you think is kind of like the right time to start a membership site and to add this new revenue stream?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think more often than not, people put it off way too long. They think, oh, I've got to wait until I have an audience of this size, or I've got to wait until I've got this amount of content. And they create all these reasons why they should delay it. But the reality of it is that the sooner you get started, the more advantages come your way. Because when you start working with a group of people like us, even if it's a small group of founding members, like 5, 10, 15, etc., you get the opportunity to really learn, where they're getting stuck, where they're getting hung up, and how you can best serve them. And it gives you the chance to then refine that membership experience. That's number one. Number two is that it also gives you the chance to be able to create amazing stories, stories of progress that your, members are making. And that becomes your greatest marketing asset, bar none. And then the other thing is that it gives you confidence and momentum, because when you are generating recurring revenue, there's this sense of like, excitement around that, but there's also a sense of confidence that what you're doing, it really does matter. It is making a difference, not only in those that you're serving, but also in your business and in your family life too. So I think more often than not, people put it off way too long. You don't need an audience of tens of thousands or even thousands. We have so many examples in our community, and I'm happy to share them, of people who have launched memberships with teeny tiny audiences of just a couple hundred people. But with that, like I think of Jennifer Chamberlain as a great example. She didn't have a big, gigantic audience. In fact, when she started, she welcomed 30 founding members, 30. And in the first year, that grew to just over 100. In year two, that grew to just over 200. And then by year three, she hit that inflection point and she went from 300 members to over 2,000 members. Now, this is in the art space. And so I share this because when you open yourself up to that possibility, I love to hold space for people that, so much more can happen than they imagine and not less. And so the sooner you get started with it, the better.
Yeah. And you learn so much too. I know for me, it's like, what content should I create in my membership? Let me just ask my members and they tell me what to create. So it actually gets like easier once you have those first few members too.
And to that point, Anna, like, that thought pattern of like, oh, I got to wait until I have, so much content. It's actually, I don't agree with that at all. In fact, the maximum amount of content I would ever start a membership site with is about 2 months worth. But we have many members that start with none. And there's a reason for that too. But the reason you don't want a whole lot is because you're guessing what your members want. And to your point, like you're really going to find out once you start working with people. And so this is why it's not worth your time to go and create a whole bunch before you get started, because it may not be useful. Like I'll give you an example. So Paul Evans, he had a membership site called Teen Life Ministries. And in it, he helps youth ministers. And he used to have like a forum in there. He used to provide all kinds of articles and video tips and interviews and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he asked his members, if we were to remove everything from the membership, what's the one thing that you would not want us to get rid of? And there was an overwhelming response for the same thing. And that was he provided a resource, which was a PowerPoint presentation for these youth ministers, because most of them work full-time during the week, and then they're a youth pastor on the weekends. And so it's like a part-time job. So they don't have a lot of time to prep these their sermons. So these presentations, that's all they were really there for. It's just to like get the PowerPoint, make a few tweaks, and bada bing, bada boom, they're off to the races. And so he ended up getting rid of 75% of all the content and stuff that he was had inside the membership because they just weren't using it. And this is a perfect example of like, you don't know until you know. And the only way to know is to start working with real people inside the membership.
Exactly. And one thing you taught me too is like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, then that means my members are overwhelmed too. So this business model of a membership site, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be light and fun and give you more freedom and everything too. So how do you build a membership? You know, we're all about career fulfillment here. So how do we build a membership around what we already know, what we love to do, and that can give us that freedom and fulfillment too?
Well, I think a lot of people struggle with the idea that they could, have an expertise or a specialty in any certain area. If you do already have that expertise, or you already have a passion that you know about, then you know that this is like, it's an easy next step. But I think of like my wife, Amy, Amy, and she struggled for a long time because she always thought that she wasn't good at anything. She'd look at her friends of hers, like her friend Ingrid, who, in her mid 30s discovered that she's an absolutely incredible artist. Like she's never done art before. She starts doing these pet portraits and they're amazing. And Amy's like, yeah, but I look at Ingrid and it's clearly she's got this incredible talent. Like that could be turned into a membership, but I don't know that I'm really good at anything. And I was just like, hold up for a second. Because, Amy has always been phenomenal at creating experiences. And for a long time, she's like, yeah, but how is that how could that be a business? Well, fast forward, we ended up, opening a luxury Airbnb, and it's on Instagram if anybody wants to see it, at Dover Lake House. But anyway, so Amy's phenomenal because she creates the most amazing experiences for all of our guests. And as a result, we have 5-star reviews. We have referrals and rebookings all the times from our guests. And we charge 3 times the average nightly rate for our area, and we're always booked. And so she's always getting asked, like, how are you doing this? And I said to her, Aim, this is it. This is your skill set. Like, this is what you're really good at. And she's like, yeah, but it's common sense. And I'm like, no. And this is the lesson for everybody. If it feels easy and if it feels like common sense to you, there's a very good chance there are clues behind that, because what comes easy to you does not necessarily come easy to everybody. It is not necessarily common sense to everybody. And this is why Amy's, luxury Airbnb stands out head and shoulders above everybody else, because she does the little things that come natural to her that make this an amazing experience, where everybody else is just doing the bare minimum. And so this is why, if you have skills, expertise, a passion, I want to encourage you to pursue it. And even if you don't feel like you're necessarily the expert or could run in a direction, I want to encourage you to look at what comes easy to you, what feels easy to you. And then there are, of course, other, models as well. Even if you don't want to be the expert, we know many people in our community who have partnered up with an expert. So, there's Scott Paley, who he runs the behind the scenes of the membership in the nonprofit space with his business partner, Joan Gary, who is the expert. So Joan doesn't do any of the marketing and the membership stuff. That's what Scott does. But Scott doesn't do any of the teaching. That's what Joan does. They partnered up together and they've made it work. And they've grown this membership to more than 4,500 plus members. So there's lots of different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, we all have expertise, we all have experience, we all have skills, we all have passions that we can mine. And the beauty about the internet is there's so many people who are eager and wanting and willing to learn in all kinds of markets. Like, that's what never ceases to amaze me. I think of even Holly George. She's a stay-at-home mom who wanted to earn some extra income because her husband was in the military. And long story short, she was passionate about balloon animals, like making balloon animals. She's got a membership now with thousands of members with teaching them how to make balloon animals.
Wow.
And it's been a huge, supplement for her and her family. And, and it's one of those things where she's not working on it all day, every day. It's a couple hours a week, and it's more than enough to maintain, the growth of that membership.
I love that. It looks like we have Jamie is going to give us an example. She wants to have a membership for journaling printables and a private podcast. You have a lot of people doing printables too, right?
Yeah, there's so many great examples of like memberships with, printables and or even stencils and things of that nature. But 100%, Jamie, I think that's a great idea, because at the end of the day, that's a membership that would create convenience for people. And those are really, really hot right now because people want to save time. And there's many examples of this. I think of like Casey Hope. She's in the calligraphy space. So she has both a digital component to her membership, and in her case, she also added a physical component. So she sends out a physical box with like different, calligraphy templates and stencils and, art materials and so forth. So there's all kinds of different ways to do it. But Jamie, I think you're onto something.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for a membership site lightning round questions?
Oh, okay. All right. Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. What makes a good membership site idea?
One that is either going to help somebody experience some kind of progress in their life, like mastering a set of skills and or solving an ongoing problem, or two, a membership that's going to create convenience for them. So this is what we were talking about with the templates and resources. Like there's so many examples like Anna DiGilio, Patty Palmer, Caitlin and Jessica. They all have memberships helping teachers in providing lesson plans for these teachers in a variety of different topics. I think of Julie Soul. She launched a membership January last year. And it was for homeschooling moms, and she provides art lessons for homeschooling moms. And so anything that helps create convenience for people, whether it be templates, whether it be stencils, resources, scripts, that's also another good a good idea for membership. Is
it expensive to set up?
You can keep it as simple and as streamlined as possible. So Cheryl Hatch, she was kind of freaked out by the technology. It was, she's one of those people that tech is like not her thing. So, she hesitated for a while, but then she's like, no, the heck with this. I'm going to figure this out. So she asked herself, like, what am I most comfortable with? In her case, it was email and Facebook. So she had the community on Facebook, and she sent all the membership deliverables via email. And she did this for 2 years before ever starting an official members area. And she had more than 600 monthly paying members at that point. So you can keep it simple, you can keep it streamlined, and therefore low cost as well.
Awesome. We have a lot of bloggers. So how do you differentiate what should go on the blog and what should be in your membership?
Oh, great question. So if you are a blogger and you've been creating a lot of free content, chances are you've been producing content in a somewhat random fashion. So it's like more difficult for a reader, so to speak, to follow a path or a curriculum. And I think of like years ago when I partnered with New York Times bestselling author Michael Hyatt. When he published his book, Platform: Get Noticed in a Noisy World, it went on to become a New York Times bestseller. And I said to him, I was curious about the book writing process, and he smiled and he said, Stu, everything that's in that book, I have already written for free on my blog. And I said, well, why would people buy the book then? And he's like, because on the blog, it's all over the place and it's random and there's no flow and there's no plan and there's no structure. The book has the plan, the flow, and the structure. The same is true inside of a membership site. What we're providing people is clarity and direction. They don't want to have to go and learn all the things. They want to focus in on the few things that matter to them now. And that's why people join a membership. They want that straight line to the result that they're after, not having to research and try to pull all the things together and sift and sort through it all.
Yeah, I was just telling someone that because I publish on my blog every Monday, and it could be very different topics. There's no step-by-step plan every Monday, but in the membership there is for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like a magazine, people love magazines because, you have that random nature of content, but at the same time, like there's also a reason that people love books, and that's because it has a structure. And the same is true inside of a membership.
So how long does it take to actually get it up and running?
Well, again, this is one of those, I think oftentimes a stumbling block that holds people back, thinking that they've got to, get all these things in place before they get going. No, you don't. You can do a founding member launch with a simple invite right now on either Facebook or Instagram or your blog or your podcast, wherever you communicate with your audience. And for example, like one year at our live event, we were talking and teaching about the founding member launch process. And it's a super simple way to, launch your membership without having anything created yet. And I know that can sound daunting to somebody hearing it for the first time, but it's a really simple process. So Anna, she was inspired. She was in the audience. She was inspired. She didn't have a big audience of tens of thousands or thousands. She had a Facebook group that had 326 infertility practitioners. And she's like, I'm going to do it. So she made an announcement in her Facebook group, and she invited people to come and join her as a founding member. And she didn't have anything set up. She didn't have like a fancy sales page or webinar or anything of that nature. She just said,
she had her baby on her lap too.
She had her baby on her lap. You're right. You're 100% right. She had her baby there at the live event. And she makes this Facebook post, and she invited people to join her as a founding member. And she did invited them to join her as a founding member where they would get lifetime access. So it was a little more upfront. And so long story short, she ended up generating $5,024 before the end of the event. So that's in 36 hours from the time that she did it. And she didn't have a membership yet. She didn't have any of that created, but she communicated that up front. And that's part of what a founding member is getting, is the benefit of getting in on the ground floor. And that's why they're going to get that better pricing. And so people get excited by that. And what that does for us is it gives us the chance to get going with the membership before we create all the things, And so it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship with the members and for you.
Definitely. So I know you have a lot to prepare today. You have your second workshop is coming up today. He had one yesterday. If you haven't watched that, you can go back and watch the recording. But tell us what they might have missed yesterday and what is happening today, what you're going to be teaching. And this is entirely free, by the way.
Yeah, totally free. We do this one time a year. This is it. And yesterday we talked about how to determine whether your market would be a good fit for a membership. So we talked about the 3 C's. The first one is your customer. And we looked at I walked through a little process of identifying the behaviors of the customer that indicate to us that, hey, this would be a good market to move forward with. The second C was your community. Have you been building a community on, different platforms? And like I said, you don't need a big community. You don't need tens of thousands or thousands, but a couple hundred is all you need. And that may be dispersed across Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, or, your email list or your blog audience or wherever it may be. But as long as there is a bit of an audience there, then you've got what you need to be able to get started. And then the third component that we looked at was content. And you mentioned a lot of people in your audience are producing blog content. So they're already way ahead of the game in that respect. But getting into and positioning yourself to be that person to serve your audience is important. And so we walked through that. We talked about the different types of memberships. So product-based membership, service-based membership, and knowledge-based membership. The big one is obviously knowledge-based. That's where most of the memberships kind of fall under play. But there's still, we talked through different examples there as well. And then today we're going to build on that, and we're going to talk about, okay, whether your market's a good fit and what kind of membership you're likely going to move forward with. What do you actually provide inside the membership, and how do you structure it so that you help your members get big wins and experience big progress, but at the same time, it's not overwhelming and daunting for you. And that's what we're going to cover certainly here today. And I will say this, Anna, we have a super secret segment, and today's super secret segment, we may be walking people through the exact step-by-step founding member launch process. Ooh. So I know that after today, there will be people who will watch who came into the workshop with a fuzzy idea for a membership. And after today, they'll have not only the clarity and direction, but they'll actually have taken the steps and launched it, during the free workshop, which how amazing will that be to be able to generate recurring revenue during the free workshop? And that'll happen.
I love seeing those posts. That's like my favorite thing about this workshop. And we have people too. I'm not sure who said this. I can't tell your name, but they said yesterday was so good. Looking forward to this afternoon session. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up at www.classycareergirl.com/membership workshop. And last words of wisdom. We will see you there, Stu. I hope you rest your voice and you you get some time. But thank you so much for being here, and we will see you later today.
Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate you, buddy. And, I just want to take a moment and just acknowledge you for all that you've done for your community, and especially certainly inside your memberships. It's a testament to you that this membership has not only been around for so long, but has, been so successful for so long. And it's because you genuinely care about the people that you serve. And I think that, anybody in your audience can, take some tremendous clues just by watching you and the way in which you show up. So thank you for being a great representation of what a membership can do for people. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Awesome. Bye.